Here are some tips to help you when your dog develops diarrhea. Diarrhea in dogs is more common than you think. And dogs have a tendency to scavenge, and this is directly related to their evolution and their genetics. When it's about survival, then the drive to eat all that is available is vitally important. So diarrhea is a frequent occurrence in households that have dogs. So when does it call for action, and when can you assist and wait before rushing to the vet? Diarrhea can be a gassy diarrhea with lots of flatulence and projectile emissions. It can be caused by food intolerances, and because dogs have a natural tendency to scavenge, they can eat any number of things that you as a pet parent don't actually feed them. So diarrhea can also be hemorrhagic. In other words, the stool is runny and bloody. And so when do you panic? Many puppies will show what vets refer to as garbage disease. So the pups are curious and they eat many things that are unsuitable. Many things that you don't even know or are even not even aware of the fact that they're in the environment. But their nose finds it and it's part of their natural development. So this can cause a diarrhea. So if your puppy develops diarrhea but has no fever, your puppy is active and is playing and eating, then you can observe for 24 hours. If it doesn't disappear, seek veterinary advice. In the meantime, in those 24 hours, you can also give your puppy chicken and rice instead of the normal food. And you may use a binding medicine like kaopectin. If the diarrhea persists beyond 24 hours, visit your vet. Dehydration is a very serious sequel and complication to diarrhea and needs to be attended to. Food intolerance can occur in all ages of dogs, so this is not just specific to puppies. And it can present as an intermittent diarrhea and may indicate that there's a problem with the diet. So the first item to investigate if your dog is manifesting these kinds of symptoms is the protein source. Very often the protein source is what brings on the diarrhea. An elimination diet is often recommended in an attempt to identify the causative agent. In these cases, your dog will continue to be healthy in other aspects of their life. Okay, so they are not sick. I think the most important diarrhea that we deal with is bloody diarrhea or hemorrhagic diarrhea, and that is always a cause for concern. So in these instances, if your dog develops a bloody diarrhea, do not hesitate to take your dog to the vet. Blood in the stool can be caused by, number one, parvovirus, the so-called cat flu. So we're all very familiar with this, and the puppies and your dog should be vaccinated against it. Parvovirus is often fatal, but your vet can administer treatment that can improve the chances of survival. Number two, Clostridium species. Clostridium is a bacteria, or there's many different species of this bacteria that can be found in rotting carcasses and frot food. So in the old days where tinned food was really a thing, or where cans are being thrown away and not adequately disposed of, if the dog gets hold of the remains in that can, Clostridium can be a big problem. So this particular infection requires antibiotics to overcome the clostridial overgrowth. So it definitely needs to go to the vet. Number three, other viruses such as distemper, canine coronavirus, no connection to COVID. Distemper, I've mentioned already, and even rabies. So any of these viruses can contribute or can cause a bloody diarrhea. So don't delay in seeking veterinary intervention. And number four, poisoning. So Ratex and or two-step, the so-called two-step, which is an organophosphate poison, the two different types of poisons, and they cause a bloody or can cause a bloody diarrhea for different reasons. Both of these, your dog is going to be very, very compromised and very sick. So do not hesitate to get them to the vet for further interventions and for the administration of the antidote. So I hope that helps you practically to try to identify when it becomes necessary in terms of a diarrhea to take your dog to the vet for any sort of treatment.